All right.
A warm welcome and thank you for watching the latest edition of the Lockdown Lowdown. I know many of you don't watch live, you watch afterwards and you like to catch up on it without asking the questions, and that's great as well. So we appreciate those of you that are doing that and hope you find it useful. For those of you watching live, you will have the opportunity to ask questions, whether it be about the financial world or about boxing or whatever it may well be, and I will do my best, as I always do, to answer them as best as I possibly can. So today we're going to deal with all the latest news in the world of boxing, and we've got a lot to talk about in the world of finance. And I'm just going to start off with the fact that we have had live sport this week, and I know for most of you out there it's been fantastic having the football back. Probably not so much for me because I'm an Arsenal supporter, and watching them lose twice and being as bad as they have been has not been a great watch, to say the least. And I'm already fed up before we've even started. But what we do know for sure this week is Frank Warren's first offering will be on Friday the 10th of July from the BT studios in Stratford, and I will be discussing the card and some of the fights that he has announced later on in this broadcast. But before we do that, let's move over and do the financial world first before we go into boxing, and then we will answer all your questions. Say most of the questions that we do get do tend to come from the boxing world, so I will leave the boxing until afterwards. So let's look at what's happened and the weekly news in the world. Firstly, the investments. Investments have done extremely well this week, generally for those in the higher risk categories. And when I say higher risk, it's not massive risk, but our risk 5, some of our risk 5 category clients have made nearly 5% this week, and risk category 6 over 7% this week. So those have achieved a fantastic return. And the risk 6 clients, so we were doing the numbers for them at the weekend, have actually made 70% approximately in the last 3 months, which has been outstanding. So for those in lower risk, they've still shown a massive profit. So we have a bunch of happy clients, and that's what we try to do at Goodwin Financial Services. Make sure that our clients are happy and get good returns. And I say, should you need any help, you know where to come. Right, some pointers, and that's what I like to rattle through here. These are things that for some of you will be useful, and you can some bits of this forward and it will help. Firstly, the self-employed grant scheme by the government, and this is very, very important. To qualify for tranche number 2, your business must be affected after the 14th of July. So if your business is not affected by the COVID-19 after the 14th of July, you are not eligible to apply for the second tranche. As to what is affected, speak to your accountant, or if you're involved with me, speak to me, and I can explain what affected means and the legalities of affected and how you can still qualify for it. But it's very important that if your business is not affected after the 14th of July, you cannot qualify or claim for the second tranche of self-employment benefit. For those of you that have credit cards, and I can't stress this strongly enough this week, if you have credit cards and you are paying interest on these credit cards, act today. 0% interest rate or transfers are disappearing fast, literally by the day. If you are paying interest, this may be your last chance to move that onto 0%. And the best deal at the moment that is left is with TSB. It's 30 months interest free for a 2.99% fee. If you are paying interest on your credit cards, and these interests can be 20 or 30% per annum, please, please, please listen to me and take advantage now before it is too late. As far as the rental market, whilst landlords are struggling very badly, they are now banned from evicting anybody until August. It's been an extension from June. It now means that if somebody doesn't pay rent, landlords can do nothing about it, and it's causing a lot of problem in the buy-to-let property market. We've covered property prices and what I believe could well happen before, but there's a big issue. If you are a tenant and you are, or anybody's a tenant, they can do nothing until August. Business bank accounts. If you've got a limited company, you've got a vast amounts of cash sitting in your bank account, stop doing that. Link it to a Shorebrook business bank account. At least you get 1% interest, it's instant access, and you could transfer between accounts. So if you've got 100,000, for example, in your business account, that's 1,000 a year for absolutely nothing, just to set up the Shawbrook business account, and that's the best business account on the market. As far as personal savings accounts are concerned, instant access, national savings, government backed, 1.16% is the best rate in the market for instant access, and you can go over the 85% barrier, 85,000 barrier, which is the amount that the government guarantees for if you're with any other bank, because it is the government, so you are covered there. They are also offering the best ISA rate at the moment at 0.9%. So if you've got badly paying cash ISAs, transfer it to the National Savings ISA, you get 0.9%, it is government backed, and it does help the government borrow the money at a cheaper rate for what they're using at the moment. Very importantly this week, moving on to mortgages, the Parliament group have asked for a cap on standard variable rates as they fear that there's going to be too many mortgage prisoners that get absolutely stitched up. Now, these are things that I covered last week on the Help to Buy issues, where people are getting these 2-year deals that after 2 years they find themselves in negative equity, can't get out, and there could be a case where lenders take advantage of them. It's a very big possibility, it's a big problem, and now the government are getting involved trying to stop what's going to happen. It's been something that I've been predicting for the last year or two that is potentially a risk of happening, and it really is going to become a risk. So just watch this space. 95% mortgages, well, they've been withdrawn, and many 90% mortgages are now being withdrawn. This is because lenders are petrified about the potential fall in the market, and they are trying to take a defensive position to ensure that they are not exposed, because we don't want to know about banking crisis. You are finding now that 15% now becomes a sort of a minimum to get on the housing ladder unless you do these Help to Buy schemes, and I do suggest if you're thinking of doing that, watch last week's, and it may well give you a better idea of what you're signing up to. Banks are now freezing their loans also till the end of October, and then they're being obligated by the government to assist people for 3 months afterwards. So if you have got a loan and you have slipped through the net and you are finding trouble with meeting those payments, you can freeze your loans. However, it will affect credit ratings at many occasions, irrelevant to what you're being told. And finally, before I go on to boxing, something that I've done for the first time in my life is I bought premium bonds this week. I've always told my clients that these are generally the worst things to do, but I can tell you now that premium bonds are paying 1.4%, which is a higher rate than any other instant access account. And for the first time in many years, premium bonds now offer you a good solid return, potentially, because 1.4% is being distributed. Yes, you may be lucky and get more, and you may be unlucky in getting less, but if you're getting 1.4% for a 1.16% general rate, then it is worth taking that risk. So premium bonds are now a buy rather than a sell. Okay, I hope you found that worthwhile. Any questions, fire them across to me on here or privately if you wish. As far as boxing is concerned, Frank Warren has his first offering on the 10th of July. And we do know that on that first show, 4 of the 5 fights are as follows. David Adeleye, the West London heavyweight, he returns and he will have a knockover job, I'm sure, probably a first round knockout win. My own Phil Williams heavyweight, who's a heavyweight journeyman or heavyweight opponent, he will be facing David Adeleye on his second fight back in August, but I'm expecting David Adeleye, I know he's fighting, should get a nice comfortable knockout win. Mark Chamberlain, another exciting young prospect from the Frank Warren stable, he has his 6th pro fight, he's 5-0 with 3 stoppages at the moment. I expect once again him to have a comfortable win. We have Hamza Shiraz taking on Paul Keane from Scotland. Now Paul Keane is one of these fighters with a 12-1 record, but it's not really as good as it looks. His only title shot, he lost for the Scottish area title. He's not going to be beating Hamza Shiraz, who is a really exciting prospect. And the final fight that's been announced for day 1 of the Warren shows is Brad Foster taking on James Beach for the British and Commonwealth Super Bantamweight title. What I would say is James Beach won a Central Area title by 96 to 95. Levels. Again, I don't see any of those 4 fights being remotely competitive. We don't know the final fight. But they have announced 2 other fights, which are not going on the first show, which I think are competitive. Anthony Kakachi takes on Leon Woodstock for the British Super Featherweight title. And the one fight that I think is very interesting, although may not be the greatest on the eye, is Lerone Richards, who for me is absolutely an outstanding prospect. When I say he's a standing prospect, he's British champion. Takes on Umar Sadiq, who has done things the hard way and beat Cody Davis last time. I'm not saying that fight will be great on the eye, but I think it's a very intriguing fight. So there are some good fights in the Frank Warren pipeline there. The first show, don't expect too much on the 10th of July. I think you're going to see 5 pretty much one-sided fights. But going forward, they are looking to add some more fights. And obviously the Hearn offering is coming towards the end of July, and there's some great matchups that they have put on also. So I'm looking forward to seeing boxing, but the first show, please don't build your hopes up too much for that first show. That's it, covering all the bits I want to cover today. Don't even think we've got any questions, have we, Kate? No. So today, what you've got is a spiel from me for 15 minutes. Thanks a lot for watching, and bye for now.